Good evening, everyone. I'm going to open up the Columbus City Council meeting tonight, the last one of the year. The date is December 22nd, 2025, and the time is 6 o'clock. First thing we're going to do on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The third thing on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Anybody have any discussion on the agenda tonight? Hearing none, I, Ron Hanegraaff, move to adopt the agenda for the December 22nd, 2025 City Council meeting.
Rob, I'll second.
The motion's been seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. Jenny?
Jenny, aye.
Scott, aye.
Aaron, aye.
Rob, aye.
And Ron, aye. We'll go on to item number B, the consent agenda. Does anybody have any issues on the 4 items?
Mr. Mayor, this is Scott. I just spoke with the finance director on something that needs to be recoded, which I shared with a couple of you. It was the planning commission meeting. The person was on the EDA, so they're going to change the code on that one, on the bills paid.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Hearing none. I, Ron Hanegraaff, move to approve the consent agenda for December 22nd, 2025 City Council meeting. Is there a second?
This is Jenny, I second.
We have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. Jenny?
Jenny, aye.
Scott, aye.
Aaron, aye.
Rob, aye.
And Ron, aye. We'll go on to item number C, presentations and items for council actions. First thing on the agenda is a public forum. Is there anybody out there that'd like to come forth and make a comment to the council? Seeing nobody in the audience. Anybody online on Zoom? Nobody's coming forth. We'll close the public forum. We'll go on to item number 2, McClure Acres Preliminary Plat 7523 165th Avenue Northeast. Do we want to give the floor to Ellen or to you, Jack?
Eleanor's going to take this one for us, Ron.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. The Planning Commission reviewed an application for a preliminary plat to create one new lot in the rural residential zoning district, along with a variance to request to reduce the required lot width from 220 feet to 165 feet along a portion of the property in order to accommodate an existing septic system. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on both applications as a joint public hearing on December 3rd, 2025, and no public comments were received. The Commission continued its discussion of the application at its next meeting on December 17th, 2025. The Commission voted 2-2 on the variance request, resulting in a failed motion and a recommendation of denial of that variance. Because the variance was not recommended for approval, the preliminary plat was recommended for approval subject to the following condition. The width of Block 1, Lot 2 shall be 220 feet for the entire lot, and a permanent maintenance easement shall be placed over the existing septic system in order to avoid that lot width reduction variance. Based on the Planning Commission's recommendation, the City Council should consider the following actions. Denying the variance request to reduce the required lot width from 220 feet to 165 feet, consistent with the Planning Commission's recommendation of denial, and extend the review period for the preliminary plat in order to allow the applicant to resubmit the new designs with the full 220-foot lot width and with that permanent easement for access to the existing septic system. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Anybody?
Ellie, there was one other option on that.
Oh, yes. Because this was not a solid vote for denial and instead was a failed motion, there is also the option of approving both the variance request and the proposed preliminary plat as is now.
Okay, Jenny, you want the floor?
This is Jenny. Can I ask a question to, are you Ms. McClure? Might I ask a question?
Sure, yeah.
So as I was reviewing,
Why don't we get her up?
if you'd like to come and take a seat. Thank you very much.
You can state your name.
Yeah, Gretchen McClure.
Does she need a state address or is she okay?
No, we-
Okay, thank you. Okay, hi Gretchen.
Hi.
So as I was reviewing, I know several of us watched the Planning Commission and went through that process with you. I know that one of the questions I had was, it's listed on page 17, talking about how the compliance inspection was received, confirming that the existing system is fully compliant. So they did a full inspection of your current system.
I had the whole thing pumped and a private inspector out to inspect the entire thing, and he says it's fully functional,
Fully functional.
in compliance with everything.
In compliance, so not there, so based on what that looks like, according to your inspector, from my understanding, that there is a lot of life left to your current septic system based on their initial inspection and what they're seeing.
Yeah, I guess he can't give me an exact, like you have 20 years left, but he, basically said some failed day one and some fail 50 years. You don't know when. He said we put them in and sometimes they fail the next day, and I know people have had them for 50 plus years, so.
But as of that inspection,
As of
it
that
looks-
inspection, everything looks good and there's nothing wrong with your system.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. That helps me a lot in
Yeah.
determining this. Thank you.
Did you want to make a statement?
I snuck up here. I'm her father, Rob Olson. I'm also an attorney, but as I often say, don't hold that against me. So anyways, yeah, it was fully compliant. And I know because when we sold our last house about 6 years ago, we didn't have the adequate separation between the the water table and the system. This came out at 3.6 feet. So there's 3 foot is the required separation. So the idea is it's, as you know, this is Wyoming or Columbus, a lot of sand. And so it's a very well-functioning system. They've never had a backup in the house. There's no evidence of that. So that, the idea is why would you, scrap a system that works and then create a new area with, more contamination? It just didn't seem to make sense, so.
Ms. Jenny, that goes back to, I think, my initial, not question based on what this looks like, but really understanding that there is a lot of life left versus something that would be potentially replaced within the next few years does a bit alter my personal opinion on this. So, but thank you. I appreciate your candor in explaining that. Thank you.
Scott, you had something?
Yeah, just a question. So again, following what was going on in the Planning Commission so you're dividing this up into an 8.67 acre lot and selling off a 5 acre lot, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And then that septic system would fall across the property line of that 5 acre lot, which was the reason for the variance?
Yes, it's like the front of the property. The existing septic system is part of kind of what would be that 220 feet at the front of the property. And then it goes out and goes back and meets the requirements for the minimum acreage.
Okay, all right. But so that septic system can be relocated on that 8.67 acres, correct? If you sell? There's nothing, there's no lowland or there's room to relocate that?
Oh, I've had all the soil borings done and everything, yeah, for other things. If in the event that 20 years from now it fails and I need to move it, yes, there's lots of places to move it.
They did do the soil borings for the alternate site, and if you looked at the preliminary plat, it was indicated there, but it's relatively high land there if you looked at the profiles. Or
Topography, yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, you could even locate it behind your house too.
Yes.
I think that was mentioned.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So then my question is, if you can relocate it, I'm a little concerned that this is primarily an economic hardship in nature, which wouldn't necessarily qualify for a variance or an easement. I mean, an easement would be less appetite for an easement than a variance. I think everybody agreed on that in the Planning Commission, so.
Well, the idea is that, when you look at the standards for the variance, was it strictly an economic problem, or was it's also an issue with an environmental problem? If you just scrap this system, leave it there, now you've got more soil that you're now, contaminating with a subsurface sewage system, and this thing could last for another 30 years. So the idea is, do you just have waste and abandon the system? And the reason that the idea of the variance was selected, so you didn't have a neighbor that was maybe upset because you were cutting the grass or not cutting the grass on top of the mound system, and all the attendant problems you have when people have boundary disputes. So the first 75 to 100 feet, it just skirts around that septic system, and then it goes back to the 220. So it's, if anybody was at the roadway, they'd look at it, it'd look like it belonged there because there's a tree line that runs across just kind of naturally that was there, where it's proposed that she would split off the lot, so.
Okay, yeah, I understand that, but again, you can relocate it on that 8.67. You have the ability to do that, correct?
You could,
Yeah.
you could.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so not being at the planning commission or watching it, what is I mean, maybe we should have done this after the planning commission report, maybe in the future, because the planning commission report's when we'd kind of get briefed on what happened at the planning commission meeting, right? What's the hardship? I mean, are you trying to split that land off to sell it, or are you trying to split it off to build another dwelling there for somebody or what's the reason that you're trying to split the property?
I'm splitting it off, yes, to in the future sell that parcel of property.
Okay.
Yeah. I had never intended to sell that property, but
Okay, that helps me. Thank you.
yeah.
I didn't know if it was like a family member or mom and dad are building a house next to you and, they could be there their whole life, so.
I'd like to say that I attended both of the planning commission meetings, listened to it, drove to the location, looked at it. I looked at 181st from Potomac to Kettle River, and there's like 35 lots on that road, 4 of which are 40-acre plots. If you take all the rest that are left, the 31, there's not one, there's 3 that have the same frontage up front. Other than that, the frontages go for an acre lot, they go for less than 60 feet, and it's not arithmetic.
Pretty
So I think
inconsistent.
that looking at 165 feet, it fit in really perfect. Second thing is I look at what the Met Council's telling us about the freeway district, about high density, and earlier in the year, about 4 or 5 years ago, Rob might remember it, we started cutting down that 5 acres. That's where St. Clair's came in.
Yeah.
We started cutting the lot sizes so we could get more density in. And the third thing I look at is we look at physical disparities. We've got to get our population up. And then the fourth thing I look at is why I kind of disagree with you, even though I respect your remark, Scott, and I respect the planning commission too. But I think sometimes the hardship is why, if it's not that big a deal, why are we making them spend more money to crush a septic system that's working? And we have so many problems with septic systems in our city that that's why I kind of support the variance and the plat on this issue, because I think they could just crush this thing out, build another one for $25,000, and there's nothing we could say about it. They'd have the 220, and it'd be going down the road. So I don't know why we're giving this hardship to them, and that's why I support motion number 2 there, that it says approving both of them. So that's my stance on it. Any other comments or any questions?
Well, so, Mr. Mayor, I have a question then. Is there anything that would not allow us, city council, to just grant the variance without having the easement.
I don't
Even though the planning commission didn't deny the variance, but it didn't pass, do we as the city council have the ability to pass the variance rather than the easement?
We'll talk to the attorney, Megan.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yep. Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Wendell, yes, the city council is the final arbiter of whether a variance should be granted in this case. And the other thing that I would just note for you is that variances are determined on a case-by-case basis. So making a determination here tonight in support of or of denial of this variance does not mean that you need to follow that precedent for other applications that come before you.
Thank you.
Ms. Jenny, I have one more question. Can you clarify the date that the house was built for the council? And if you were the original builder and homeowner?
No, the house was built, I believe, in 72.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I bought the house 9 years ago.
So clarifying that you were not the one that decided or built where that went
No.
in the first place? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out, I got a question for you too, and you probably wouldn't know. Is this the second septic system in it?
I believe so.
So you don't have a date on when
Oh, I
it,
know I have a date. It was on the compliance report.
that's right, it was in the 90s, late
Yeah.
90s, 98.
I believe
it was
yeah,
in the
late
90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 98, I believe. I
So,
remember
so
that.
at that point, it's a mound system, I would imagine?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Ms. Jenny, can I request to make a motion?
Sure.
Ms. Jenny, I move to approve the McClure Acres preliminary plat and the variance as requested for a lot width reduction for 7523 165th Avenue Northeast as proposed in the staff report for this item.
Rob, I'll second.
Well, we got a motion on the floor, it's been seconded. Any other discussion? Karen?
No.
Scott? No. We'll take a vote then. Jenny?
Jenny, aye?
Scott, I just would point out that on page 17 of our packet, the variance findings, number 6, it says the practical difficulty is not created solely by economic considerations. I don't feel we satisfy that one, so my vote is nay on this one.
Karen?
Well, this is Karen, all aye.
Rob, aye.
And Ron, aye. The motion passes. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thanks for serving on a city council. I do in municipal practice, and my hat's off to anybody that does this. I mean, you really are doing a public service, because I know you're not getting paid that much. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. We'll go on to item number 3, ordinance amendment 25-04, fence regulations.
The Planning Commission has been working on a city ordinance amendment to improve regulation regarding fencing. Ordinance 2504 consolidates all of our fencing provisions into a single section of the zoning code and establishes clear, consistent standards for materials, height, location, providing greater clarity for both residents and staff. Public hearing on the proposed ordinance was held on November 5th, 2025, with no public comments received. The Planning Commission recommended approval of Ordinance 2504 to the City Council on December 3rd, 2025. The City Council then reviewed this ordinance on December 10th, 2025, and tabled it with the following requested changes. Reduce the minimum clearance above grade for solid fences from 4 inches to 2 inches, and to discuss whether to allow fences directly on property lines or require a minimum setback. No consensus was reached on the language for the possible required setback. As a part of the staff report, you will see 2 different versions of that section of code. One with the original language that was recommended by the Planning Commission, which does not require setbacks, but does require written consent from both property owners for property boundary fences, and the optional change of adding a 2-foot required setback, as discussed in the previous City Council meeting. What staff is looking for now is a final determination on that particular change.
Anybody have any comments? So
Yeah, we kind of went over that 2 foot back and forth, and what did we kind of come up with as a census through that workshop?
This is Scott. Did we come up with a consensus? I don't know that we did, because I think we asked council to look at whether it should be a 5-foot setback or a 2-foot setback.
Yeah.
And that's where we left it,
Okay.
I believe.
And then, this is Jenny, at one point we talked about not having a setback because of lawn issues and lawn maintenance, and having a neighbor sign off before so they would have to show the boundary and both neighbors would agree on what that looked like. That was, I think, where we kind of stopped.
Yeah, I remember that, for sure.
And Mayor, if I could, one other thing I want to point out that didn't come up in the a previous meeting is, as we're looking at our animal ordinance as well, a 2-foot setback, as we look at what a reasonable amount of pasture is in our animal ordinance on somebody that is potentially on, let's say, a 3-acre lot, that 2-foot by linear feet of pasturable acreage can make the difference for some people and the number of large animals that they can keep on that property. So I think we have to think at a high level about that too. If we make it optional with an agreement from both parties, you're saving a little bit of footage and acreage for people that want to move to Columbus or live in Columbus and want to have animals, potentially.
So this is Rob, you'd be saying not doing the 2 foot and just like Jenny was talking, have an agreement between the two parties, two neighbors?
I think if you make it mandatory, you're going to be taking some acreage away for smaller property.
Well, and you brought that point up about that certain weed that could kill livestock or horses or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Nope. If it wasn't controlled. Yeah.
This is Karen. Scott, so you're thinking we should have a 5-foot setback?
No, I don't think we should have a mandatory setback at all. I think it should be an agreement, because if you have an agreed setback or you have an agreed fence on the property line, again, I don't know if this would impact homeowners or not, but I suspect with some of the smaller properties, particularly in our neighborhood, there are people with horses on smaller properties where, losing 2 feet per linear foot would significantly reduce that pasture, especially if they have lowland on the pasture and can't count them.
To give you an example on that, if you had a typical 5-acre lot, a 5-foot setback would result in a reduction of 1/10 of an acre. So if you had an acre, you lost 1/10, and you wouldn't be able to keep the larger farmland.
Yeah. So a 3-acre house, subtract 1/2 acre to an acre for a house and a potential shelter, you're down to 2 acres. That's 2 large animals in the way we're looking at our animal ordinance. And then you have a 2 or 5-foot setback. You could be down to 1. And maybe that's what we want, but I just think we need to take that into consideration here.
I got to ask you, Megan, when you say it has to be agreed upon, do we get involved in that?
So just as a reminder of the revisions that are proposed to your ordinance. So this is to allow for fencing to be installed without a survey. Okay. If staff has any questions about the property line, they are going to require a survey to be completed. So just as sort of as a preliminary statement, the agreement of the property owners is not really an agreement, but it's that they consent to the fence being placed in this location. So I think the practical example would be that property owner A pulls up the GIS report from Anoka County and says, I'd like to have a fence installed along our property line. Are you okay with that, neighbor? Otherwise, I'd want it, it would be at a 2-foot or a 5-foot setback to be determined by this conversation. The neighbor would say, yes, that sounds good to me. Let's put it on our property line. Then staff would look at it, see if there was any discrepancy based upon, for example, the aerial looks different in terms of how one property is maintained versus another. That might indicate to you as staff that a survey should be required. If that's not the case, then both property owners sign the consent. is very standard in terms of how other cities manage this issue, and the fence is installed. At no point in time is the city saying that this is now the property line. It doesn't change the boundaries of the property. It's not a surveyed property line. It is simply saying that this is where the fence is installed based upon what the two property owners agreed to. If there is any dispute between those property owners about what is actually one person's property versus another, that is still a civil matter that will be fully addressed without sort of pointing to the city's approval of the fence. And then lastly, there's extensive case law on whether or not a city approval gives authority to a property owner. It does not. The city retains broad protection from generally what we call estoppel arguments here, that someone is stopped from claiming that this is their property because the city signed off on it. That is something that's just not supported by the case law in Minnesota. So the city has very limited risk, but we think that this consent concept of saying if you want it on a property line, you both property owners sign off on it, they know about it, then we're just providing notice and an opportunity for a property owner to object. If they object, you require a survey. So. That's my long statement on that.
Yes, Rob. So in the event then you get that survey, you still don't have to come to an agreement with your neighbor, right? Because door knocking in communities, a lot of people like to be left alone, and sometimes they don't even like their neighbor because they had one disagreement and now they won't talk to them the rest of their lives, right? So they might do something to try and slight them, right? But as long as they have that survey, they could put it right on the property line.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
This is Karen. Megan, is there some ramifications as far as the fence going on the property line, as far as when the fence needs repaired and both people on both sides need to repair that fence?
So when the fence is going to be located on the property line of the applicant, right? And so the applicant who puts up that fence is responsible for maintaining that fence.
Okay.
That means she's allowed to go on their side of the property.
Correct. And, and the other thing that's true here is that certainly property owners can make this more complicated, right? They can enter into an agreement where they say, you replace it for this 20 years and I'll replace it the next time around. They can do all of those things, but we are really just looking at whether or not the city is going to require a survey for issuing a fencing permit.
Ms. Jenny, for the sake of consistency, if we do move the route of having a neighbor sign off, can I request that the city would create that document to create consistency for all residents, so it wouldn't be them typing up or handwriting a note, that the city would have a document for sign off? Okay, thank you very much.
You don't want napkins?
Seen a lot of things on a handshake and that can go south really fast.
So does this open up the door then for setbacks for people building additions too? I mean, you have to be able to know where your property line is. You don't have to come to an agreement as long as you know where your property line was. At least when I put an addition on, I knew where it was staked, it's been that way. Had the markers on top of the pegs. I was able to get my property line that way. I didn't have to come to an agreement with my neighbor over it. That's not gonna alter that, right? Okay.
No, again, you can always choose to complete a survey, and for a more significant building permit application, we would still require a survey to be completed and final site and building plans submitted.
Yeah, because I think of like a shed or something like that, like, cost of a survey could be $5,000, $6,000 for a 1 acre lot. That's a lot of money, so, yeah.
So if you desired, what we would say is that there are setback requirements for accessory structures within the city code, and those have to be complied with. Otherwise, you would need to go through a variance process.
Right.
And so.
I just didn't want to open the door to further, other than fences, I guess is what I was getting at, so, thank you.
Do we have a kind of consensus here before I look at it? If I'm right, Eleanor, there's because of Rob bringing it up, if you have a pole barn and it's going to house animals, you have to be a certain distance from the property side line, correct? Compared to a regular structure?
Correct. For regular accessory buildings, the setback is 20 feet from side lot lines. If you are within 30 feet of that side lot line, we do require a survey. Otherwise, if it is further than 30 feet away from that lot line, we do not require a survey by ordinance. And then for animal structures, those must be 75 feet from any side lot lines.
I don't know if this fence has anything to do with that, but
So this particular section of the code would only be in regards to fencing.
I guess I brought it up because I just don't want to go down the road of a disagreement of a property line and then the setback then be an issue. You know what I'm saying? In the future. I know there's a setback, but.
Yes.
I just remember we had one once with an animal structure. And there was a difference between, you can't stick a barn 20-some feet from somebody else's property line.
I think that was like, you were on planning commission there, they put a barn right on the property line, but they hadn't pulled a permit, and then the new neighbor questioned it, it was a whole deal.
Yeah. Well, we don't want return visitors. So, so what, you like the idea right on the property line, or leaving that open?
Yeah, I do, just when we're considering the animal ordinance as well. Now, to be honest with you, if city council decides they want that mandatory 2-foot setback, I'm not going to oppose it, but I think it makes more sense when you consider the other ordinance. They go hand in hand a little bit, right?
You could have a situation where you recommend the 2-foot setback or the consent agreement between the two property owners.
Right, and there's nothing that says they can't agree on a 2-foot setback, and I believe the language says the city recommends the two.
Yeah, that would be the city recommendation, but if you have the consent agreement between the two property owners, then it can be right on the line, whatever they agree to.
It's nice if the two property owners stay there till the rest of their lives, but you get a new one in there.
Yeah,
It's true. That's why you
but I
have
mean, is a 2-foot setback going to change anything? I know my neighbor's property fence starts right on the property line and it goes about 6 feet into my property at the end. Their string must have been blown in the wind years ago. So, and we don't have a problem. But
I just, sometimes I look at these, I think it's great to have horses, have whatever you want to have. I just don't know if 2 feet's going to make a difference as far as feeding them. But, because they always reach their heads over the fence anyway. Grass is always greener on the other side, right? For a horse.
yeah, and I was talking weed control. So, which by the way, I learned something from Jack. You're the weed control person.
Just dandelions, that's all.
Okay, okay.
Jenny, you asked a comment?
Oh, no, this is Jenny. I was just going to note that in the event that neighbors wanted to also share that fence line, that would also make that easier versus requiring that setback. They could then potentially share that one fence that adjoins.
Very good point.
So for that, we're not like easing the level of difficulty for residents and in cost.
This is Karen. My only suggestion would be to have Megan or Jack or whoever come back with the form. I'd like to see the form if we decide to go that route. And maybe clarify that, and once it is on the property line, that the expenses for the fence will then be on the person actually building the fence.
So I foresee this form as being our traditional planning application or fence permitting application, and then with a check mark saying, is your fence on the property line? Yes. If so, neighbor consent, property owner consent is required. But just as a reminder, the fence must be built solely on the builder's property, right? So it's going to be on the property line. It just won't be set back from the property line. So there wouldn't be, under this consent scenario, there would not be shared costs between the two property owners. It would be the applicant's sole cost.
Yeah, my only concern there is just to make sure that that's clarified. So the two people that are signing that document understand that.
Well,
That can certainly be clarified in the document.
Well, does anybody want to make a motion on this, or?
I can make the motion. This, Jenny. I move to approve the amendments to the ordinance 25-04 as outlined in the staff report for item C3 of the December 22nd, 2025 council agenda with clarifications to allow for no setback with adding neighbor sign-off to the recommended setback requirements for fences. Is that correct?
This is Karen. Yeah, this is Karen. I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none. Jenny, you want to vote?
Jenny, aye.
Scott, aye.
Karen, aye.
Rob, aye.
And Ron, aye. The motion passes unanimously. We'll go on to item number 4, calendar of meetings.
Annually, the Columbus City Council sets and approves the meeting calendars for the City Council, Planning Commission, EDA, and the Park Board. Once approved, the calendar is posted in the Forest Lake Times and on the City Bulletin Board in City Hall. Meeting dates and times are also posted on the city website. Meetings of the Sunrise River WMO, Rice and Coon Creek Water Management Districts, Forest Lake Fire Board, and Cable Commission are set by their respective boards of directors. The calendar of meetings is exhibited in attachment 1 of your packet. Staff requests approval of the 2026 meeting calendar for the City Council, Planning Commission, EDA, Parks Board, and Public Works Advisory Board.
This is Scott. This may be a really stupid question about the workshop meetings, but we can cancel those if there's no agenda for a workshop meeting, correct?
Correct.
I don't have any issues with it. Anybody else?
And those dates correspond to our current dates that we have those on. City Council, second, fourth Wednesdays, work meetings, first Tuesdays, Planning Commissions, first and third Wednesdays, Parks Board, the third Tuesday of every other month. The EDA is the third Tuesday every quarter. And there have been adjustments made to compensate for any Monday meetings, which we don't usually have, or any meetings that fall on a holiday would be adjusted for that holiday. And also you can see on the council meetings, we've adjusted those meetings before Thanksgiving and Christmas to be on a Monday, so they're not the night before those holidays.
Any other discussion, questions, anything? Well, I'll make a motion. I, Ron Hanegraaff, move to approve the 2026 calendar of meetings as presented in item C4 of the December 22nd, 2025 City Council meeting.
Scott, I'll second.
We got a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Any other discussion, questions? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Jenny?
Jenny, aye.
Scott, aye.
Karen, aye.
Rob, aye.
Ron, aye. Motion passes unanimously. We're going to item number 5, fee schedule.
Each year, the city reviews the current fee schedule and considers changes from the following year's charges for permits, billable services, and rentals, and other non-levy costs. The following in your package is a summary of the recommendation for fee changes for 2026. A reduction of rental fees for the community center, public utilities increased to reflect a charge by the Department of Health, an increased water meter fee, and connection charges that were increased based on inflation rate for SAC, LSAC, and WAC charges. Council will be requested to consider approval of the proposed 2026 fee schedule with the changes mentioned above and in attachment 1 of your package.
This is Scott. One question, the community center, senior center fees. Do we have a rental agreement that we agreed on earlier this year? And do these fees match the rental agreement that we?
They do. We did. We had a long discussion on changing this back, I believe, in the early summer. And that's where these fees came from.
Thank you, Jack. And Cheryl.
I heard something drop. Any other discussion on this? Just have one little question about, in your letter there, to reduce the event rental fees, what did it come down from?
It's on the sheet.
250, it looks like.
The what?
It's on the sheet here.
I think it's slashed out alongside it, Ron.
Oh, okay,
red.
all right.
Community center rental went from 250
Yeah.
to 50.
They were substantially higher, and we reduced those just to encourage use of the facility. And currently now, the seniors are back in there, and we've had 2 rentals of the facility since then. So before that, I don't think we'd had any rentals of it. So I don't think it's been an overwhelming use, but at least we do have the seniors back in there, and they're using it. Of course, we did waive the fees for them. We do have the right to waive the fees for any organization that's part of the city or has done work for the city. So I think those are more than appropriate for what it costs to run it. We got to have the heat and the lights on anyway, so that's a good use for it.
Got to pay for them generators too.
And that's something we need to bring up and discuss here very soon.
This is Karen. Jack, do you think it'd be possible to have some language somewhere regarding decks? I mean, as far as how that fee is assessed, or is it based on, just in case somebody would come to our website so they would know how a deck would be assessed?
All those fees, for the most part, were developed based on what it costs to perform those services. The ones that we mentioned with the raises are something we did consult with our city engineer about those minimal raises on those. The rental fees are, you can do it in a number of ways on what the costs are. We're just trying to minimize that so people will use that facility. And it's the minimum cost of what it's going to take. We're figuring some of that stuff. We have staff here anyway. We're not charging staff time for doing anything. It's basically to cover utility charges.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Anybody want to make a motion?
This is Scott. I could move to approve the 2026 fee schedule as presented in item C.5 of the December 22nd, 2025 City Council meeting.
Rob, I'll second.
Got a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Jenny?
Jenny, aye.
Scott, aye.
Karen, aye.
Rob, aye.
And Ron, aye. The motion passes unanimously. We'll go on to item number 6, compensation for appointed citizen members of commissions, committees, authorities, and boards.
Last year, this was brought up for discussion to equalize the payments for those people that serve on commissions, committees, authorities, and boards, have them equal to what the city council's payment for meetings outside the normal duties of council are, and that would be to raise those fees from $20 to $40. So we're requesting that be the motion for approval for tonight, is to increase fees for people who serve on the Planning Commission, EDA, Parks Board, Public Works Advisory Board, and the EDA to have an increase in their fees from $20 to $40 a meeting.
Does that include also the guy in the Sunrise, or what?
Yeah, the Sunrise, the watershed organizations, correct.
We have a citizen on now.
Correct.
So this came up, this was a question on the Forest Lake Cable Commission, if the at-large member currently is not receiving reimbursement by the city.
That would be included in this.
This would be included in this?
Yes.
So moving forward, we would reimburse Forest Lake.
That's correct.
Cable Commission. Okay. He'll be happy to hear that.
Jack, is it possible to put language in there as far as what committees specifically are going to get paid?
Yes, and I think it's mentioned in there. I don't have that right up in front of me, but I think it does specifically say the Planning Commission, the EDA, the Parks Board, the Sunrise River and the Rice Creek Watershed District, the Forest Lake Cable Commission, and there was one other one, I can't remember what it was, but those are the ones that would get paid.
Public Works.
the Public Works Advisory Board. And I think the Public Works Advisory Board in the past has refused to accept payment. Is that correct, Jim?
That is correct. Yeah, I'm strongly in favor of this. I feel like some of those planning commission meetings, depending on what it is, if it's something on the freeway, it could go 3-4 hours. There could be 2 of those. And yeah, $20 doesn't seem sufficient to me.
So everybody understands, this was brought up at the other council meeting before everybody came on, and somehow I don't know if it was at a workshop or whatever, but it was agreed upon raising it from 20 to 40, only because a number of the people have said, why is the council members' time more important than the volunteers out there? So it's been through the council a couple times. Me and
Yeah, I remember it. So
we just haven't written it down or made a motion.
Can't find any formal action taken on this item since like 2021. We've looked through
Yeah.
minutes and.
Oh, really? Yeah. It wasn't all that long ago either, was it?
Well, I think
Maybe
it was during the transition between when Jack was coming on, Elizabeth was leaving.
Yeah.
We didn't have Aaron, and things were going, because I was on the council, and I sat over where Jenny was, and I made the comment.
And I think we had a couple vacancies on commissions too, because we were like, what can we do to kind of incentivize this? And
Right, so this is going to formalize it.
That's
today.
correct. It'll be consistent throughout. It'll be $40 for all volunteer services on these commissions, committees, boards, authorities, and extra city council meetings.
Does this affect people on the planning commission as far as those, what are those, on 199 or whatever?
Or 1099.
1099.
Generally, they don't even make enough to,
Make it?
right, yep,
So what is it, $600?
$100,
so if they make all the meetings, they'll be over that.
then they would.
Yeah, it's like 9 something.
Yeah, you'd have to be, a planning commission member would have to attend, 12, 13, 15 meetings to meet that threshold.
Okay.
So it's Jenny, one clarification from that, specific to the planning commission, if they were to go on site to, sometimes they'll do site surveys before they go. I just want to clarify if that would be counted toward that or if that is not.
It is not.
Okay, thank you.
It's just a meeting, the attended regular and special meetings.
Everything that would be on our city calendar
Correct.
only. Thank you very much.
Well, any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll make the motion. I, Ron Hanegraaff, make a motion to approve the increase in the stipend for appointed citizen members serving on commissions, committees, boards, and authorities from $20 to $40 per attended regular and special meetings commencing January 1, 2026.
Ms. Jenny,
Oh. Okay.
Ms. Jenny, I second.
I think we all 3 went for it at the same.
So we got a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Any other discussion? Any questions? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Jenny?
Jenny, aye.
Scott, aye.
Karen, aye.
Rabbi?
And Ron, aye. The motion passes unanimously. We'll go on to item number 7, January work meeting agenda.
The council workshop meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 6, 2026 at 5:30 PM. The following items are recommended for discussion. Item 1, which is in your packet, will be struck. The Anoka County Highway Department has requested some additional time and indicated they will probably want to meet with us at our March meeting to go over the finals on the Camp 3 route, the detour plan. So what we're proposing to do is have a discussion on the reimbursement policy for extra meetings for the city council. I know there's always a lot of questions as what's eligible and what's not. We'd like to propose some clarification for you to look at and see what you think about that. We also want to discuss the Planning Commission public hearing policy. We discussed this briefly, I believe, at the last work meeting. As to the waiting period between public hearings and actions before city council, there's some of that could probably be adjusted and reduce some of that waiting time. And the other item is to discuss the personnel committee policy and reorganization of the personnel committee for going into 2026.
I just got one question, Jack. We've had this Anoka County Highway Department Camp 3 detour on a lot of our meetings. Haven't we settled that? I thought we settled that last meeting.
Well, we did approve that detour plan, and we sent that to them to let them know we are in agreement with it. But I think they want to work out the final details. I think we talked about a traffic plan and things like that. So I think that's some of the things they're going to discuss. And hopefully it should be put to bed after the next meeting.
They just want to make sure that you're comfortable with their plan.
Okay.
So, and if you have any questions or comments, everybody's on the same page at that point.
Okay. Understand it. Anybody have any discussion on this, the agenda?
So, yeah, well, on that, are they coming to do another presentation then, or just like a Zoom update with
They'll
any
come here.
changes?
They'll come
Okay,
here.
okay.
But basically what they'll come here with is, here's our traffic plan.
Sure.
Stoplights, four-way stops, whatever it might be at that point.
Yeah, there was a lot of things thrown out there.
Right, so they're doing some research, they're gonna try to figure out what's best, and then they're gonna present that to you to make sure that you're comfortable with it.
Great, thank you.
This is Karen. Jack, just a question regarding the city council reimbursement for extra meetings. Would that apply to the EDA as well if they have like Columbus or anything like that where they would get paid for that extra meeting?
It could be that, if that's a question. Generally, those have been looked at as, maybe from the EDA standpoint, as ceremonial type meetings, but we could include that in discussion of whether that would be an eligible expense.
Yeah, it would be nice to have it just clarified for all the commissions.
Yeah, I think in the past, council was reimbursed for it.
Yeah, the council was, I don't know if the EDA was.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's like what we talked about, Ron was trying to make it fair, so, because it was kind of like, oh, the council, like we make $1 million, right? But the council gets this, but why don't we, right? And so we're just kind of like, well, why don't they?
yeah, if we're going to be consistent in it, that would be the thing to do.
Yeah.
So this is Scott, if I could follow up on that. We talk about ceremonial meetings that wouldn't qualify, like going to an open house or something like that.
You know, like a flag raising ceremony, I know that they had one there at the Blaine Brothers 2 years ago, and that's optional. You don't have to go to that. Same way with ribbon cuttings and things like that. But we just want to make sure there may be some that we might want to include on that list. We just want it to be clarifications, because I know I've had questions from everybody. Does this qualify? Does that qualify? We just want to make it so, hey, it's much simpler. There'll always be some questions, but this will make that process simpler for you to determine what's eligible and what isn't.
So would it be fair to say city-sponsored event?
Discussion for the work meeting.
Okay, thank you. Excellent point.
Perfect.
Awesome.
We get it done now, cancel that.
Aaron, you can go home now. You've done your job tonight.
Good way to keep it moving.
Yes, sir.
I do.
Any, I won't say this, any other discussion?
No, don't.
Okay,
I can make the motion then.
okay.
This is Scott. I approve the agenda for the January 2026 work meeting as presented in item C.7 of the December 22nd, 2025 City Council meeting.
This is Karen, I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion that's been seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote, but we'll start with Rob this time.
Oh, Rob, aye.
Karen, I.
Scott, aye.
Jenny, I.
And Ron, aye.
It's really odd how you wait for these timing, right?
I was so I was already here.
Try to catch you off guard. We'll go to consultants, item D, consultants, liaisons, and staff reports. Brian, city engineer, what do you got?
Mayor and Council, Brian Bachmeyer, Consulting City Engineer. I have no formal reports this evening. I can share that we will have the Notre Dame borings report and recommendation at the next council meeting on January 14th. We did get some preliminary information today, but the final report we should receive by the end of this week, and we'll kind of pull that together and get it ready for the next council meeting. With that, I'd stand for any questions the council may have.
Rob?
Yeah, through the mayor. Brian, curious on the Forest Lake portion, North Hornsby there.
Yes.
They were supposed to have surcharged that already. Is it because it froze up so quick they didn't get that done? They had a dozer in there, now it's gone. Is that
That is correct. They suspended the work until the spring because of the early frost.
Okay, so is that going to push, that's going to push that project, right, quite a few months now?
Yep.
Okay,
Push it back.
okay, thank you.
How far back will that push it? And don't they leave that stuff on there for, what, 6 months or through it for us?
I thought there was at least a 3-month period where they wanted to surcharge it. I don't know if Jim, you heard anything different, but I thought they needed at least 3 months of surcharge on that to compress the material. So,
Yeah, when I built that bridge up there just north of the Clear Lake, we had it on for 6 months. That was a ton of sand.
And from what I understand too, that surcharge is mainly off the side of the road surface. That doesn't mean that they may or may not start doing some work anyways and then tie it all together, but I don't really know what their construction plan is at the moment.
I know me and Jack were at a meeting, and the mayor of Forest Lake was a little upset that they couldn't get in there early enough because of the
bad.
frost level.
yeah.
Bad road.
Any other nothing else, Brian?
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. City Attorney's report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have 2 items for council consideration this evening. The first item is a proposed amendment to the American Tower lease. So the city owns the land underneath the cell tower and currently has a lease with American Tower. American Tower approached the city and offered a $5,000 lease amendment fee in exchange for a right of first refusal in the event that a third party offered to essentially purchase the tower. This is, as American Tower shared with your staff, this is based upon consolidation of a number of other towers in the area by competitor groups. And so that's the underlying purpose. There's a couple benefits here. Number one, there's an immediate cash benefit to the city of that $5,000 amendment fee. It establishes a process for handling future offers from competing lease purchasers. So if you did get an offer, we would know that it would be the period of time to give a right of first refusal, that American Tower could come in and make an equivalent offer and purchase the tower from you. Potential drawbacks to this, of course, is the opposite of that very factor, right? Is it eliminates potential competition of selling to the essentially the highest bidder. And also, essentially American Tower is doing this for the purpose of limiting that competition, of occupying the field. At the same time, you do not have regular offers to purchase your cell tower. So there's some limited risk there. So staff is really seeking some council direction on whether you desire to pursue this proposed amendment, and happy to answer any questions that you may have here.
I got a question. It's 45 days. Is that what they're requesting, 45?
So they're requesting a 45-day period to match that offer. We think that we certainly could come back with a shorter term, and we would recommend between 15 and 30 days. I think we could probably resolve it within the 30 days, and that would be more consistent with the overall market.
This is Karen, just for my knowledge, where is our cell tower at?
In the park.
Okay,
Or the tennis courts there.
okay. And how long is the lease that we have currently? Do we know?
It expires like in 2050. It's a long one. It was like 5 10-year terms
Okay.
when it was signed.
Well, I like the idea of getting the $5,000. But I think the 45 days is we can knock it down to 30 days or 15 or whatever. Or we can hold an auction right on the park. I don't know, those things sell those spots?
We get inquiries probably 3 to 4 times a year from these carriers who want to buy that land lease. And generally, and I think you've gone through this analysis before, several years ago, that they'll offer us like $300,000 or $400,000 for the lease. But then when you run the numbers based on what rental we're getting over the period of time of the lease, it's not a good deal for us to sell the lease. So this way, if there's another if we get one of these in and we want to sell it, what it's saying that American Tower has the right of first refusal to match or equal that offer.
I got a question. I don't, this is totally different, but the one over there by Running Aces, that real tall one that was on Peterson's land there, does the city get anything out of that?
No.
I mean, when somebody re-signs a lease, we don't get,
The only way we get it if it's on our property.
that's it.
And that's why a lot of cities actually, by ordinance, require that the first location considered for cell towers be on public property.
This is Karen. Did Running Aces then have to pull a permit for that cell tower to put that cell tower on their property?
They would have had to pull some type of permit. I don't know when that was put up. It could have been put up in probably sometime in between 2009 or 10, between now
Which
and
one?
then.
The one?
We just recently approved one. You weren't on council yet, but we just approved one for Verizon, extender tower in their parking lot.
Yeah, that was one of the 33 footers. So those are the site-to-site, the Wi-Fi cell towers. So, but yeah, if a lot of places do require that the first option for location of a cell tower be on public property that's within X number of feet of whatever major highway there is, and then it goes on. If you can't find it on public property, it has to be on business or light industrial property.
Most likely under an interim use or conditional use of some sort.
We should have,
Power went up in 1983, so ET was trying to phone home when power went up.
the one over by Peterson.
He was trying to phone home.
Yeah, I remember one. So that went up first, and this one came up second. Because I was on the planning commission when this one, the late 90s or whatever. But can we put that down on a agenda to maybe put that into ours? So they have to approach us first, the city?
If it's on private property, I don't think we can. We can change ours by ordinance.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
to require that the first attempt to locate it should be on public property.
Any new ones coming in?
Yeah.
I think maybe we should do that.
I agree.
Generate income.
Right.
Well, and protect where they're going.
Well, and then too, they're fairly good income generators. This one out here only has one carrier on it. We had talked with them earlier last year about raising some fees on it. They had offered the same thing we were talking about, is buying the lease, and we told them we weren't interested in that, but we want them to continue that. But we proposed a increase in the rental rate. I think the rental rate we're getting for this one is lower than what other communities are receiving, and to change a few terms in the lease agreement, but they weren't willing to discuss that. So adding that as a change in the ordinance to require that the first site location attempts be on public property is a good idea. And the other thing is too, we'll be, one of these days, there will be a water tower here. Depending on where the location of that tower winds up being and what it is in relation to existing service towers, that could be another place where those antennas could be located, and that could be a source of significant revenue for the city.
So
I was going to say, this is Karen. My concern as a resident is I'm not real nuts about them being by kids or in a residential area, just from the health effects of them, so.
And most of them are prohibited or not approved for use in residential areas. Now, you could say this one over here it's next to a residential area, but it's on public property. Across the street is public property, but to the north and behind that is residential. So there's that distinction to be made too. But it's always good to have that in there. If we can get that on our property and sell those ground leases, and we can receive significant rental income.
So you got it on our paperwork here, motion to be determined, so we can put this off, or we could do it tonight?
Well, what we talked about before is we might want to add this to our work meeting. We can get a little bit more discussion on it there, and then go ahead, if we want to take any action on it, to do it on the 14th.
Okay. Sound good?
yeah.
Other comments? Let's go.
Well, I do have one more, not to drag it out. So is American Tower able to then, by signing this agreement, would they be able to sublease it to other cell phone providers? Or does that additional cell phone provider have to come before us to be able to put their,
I think if they add
feel
a
like-
carrier, they have to come to us.
okay,
We can double check that out, but I think before they can add, I think their lease is specific to their own use for AT&T.
sure.
So if they add another carrier, they have to come to us for a license, and that way we can get whatever negotiations we can for a rental for that other side on that tower.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion on cell towers? Well, let's take Megan and go on to St. Clair
Do you want to make a motion to table that one for
till the 14th, or?
Yep.
somebody's got to make a motion.
Yeah, motion
Table to the work?
to the workshop. So
Yeah.
the motion would be to add the American Cell Tower lease amendment to your workshop agenda for January 6th.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Scott. I can make a motion to add the American Tower lease to the January, what's the date? 6th workshop meeting.
This is Jenny, I second.
We got a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Jenny?
Jenny, I.
Scott, aye.
Karen, aye.
Rob, aye.
And Ron, aye.
Secondly, we're seeking similar action on this item. So the St. Clair Lakes development was approved for access to Howard Lake across a city outlot for canoe access. And during the construction of that project, there was a natural surface trail and walk-in canoe launch that was approved. Over the time and since construction, it's become very difficult to access that area, and the permitted canoe access underneath the DNR settlement agreement associated with that development is simply impractical. So the homeowners asked the city to reach out to the DNR to see if perhaps an amendment to that settlement agreement would be permitted to allow the installation of a wooden dock. The DNR has agreed to that, and we have a final agreement that we will ask to put on your workshop item for review and discussion that essentially amends the settlement agreement with the DNR. The other item that we will add to this package is a license agreement for the homeowners to access that wooden dock that's across the city outlet. We'll have that ready for your review at the time of your workshop meeting. But this agreement is very much consistent with the recommendation that the City Council made for us to enter into these settlement negotiations with the DNR and to provide this amendment so that the homeowners could more fully utilize their lake access.
So again, with that one, I want Megan to present it from the legal standpoint. They did check with DNR to make sure that the sign off on this was complete and had been done. But I think I would recommend this be tabled and discussed again in more detail in our workshop. If we want to take any action on it, we can do that on the meeting of January the 14th.
Sounds good, so we don't have to make a motion. We're just going to table it.
Correct.
Yeah.
You have to make a motion to table it.
Okay. Ron, make a motion to table the St. Clair proposal for the canoe access till our workshop on January 6th.
Scott, I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Jenny?
Jenny, I.
Scott, aye.
Karen, aye.
Rob, aye.
And Ron, aye. We'll go on to item number 3, the mayor and city council report. Jenny, do you have anything?
This is Jenny. I don't have any meeting reports. The only update I had was from residents saying that the Public Works did a great job salting. So they noticed that the roads weren't as icy with this last storm. So good job to you. We got some positive feedback from residents for Public Works. And that's it.
Thank you. Scott?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Forest Lake Cable Commission met last Thursday. Topics of that meeting were the budget and the fact that Columbus has taken over the bookwork for Forest Lake Cable Commission, and both Jill and Paul gushed about working with our staff, Jack. So it was really kind of nice to see how much they appreciated the work the city did for them. And then we had our Christmas party. So that's all I have.
Yeah.
I have nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Rob?
Like Jenny said, I also got many phone calls. I reached out to Jim and said thanks on the last couple storms. It seems he's got some negatives, but I think the positives outweigh the negatives, so thank you.
We're not fast enough. Which we'll talk about in a little while.
And I will say, they canceled school one day, and it was very frustrating because the roads were wet, and they canceled school. And they typically blame Columbus, but it wasn't us this time. It was another part of the district. So, yeah, thank you.
And the only thing I have to say is we don't have it on the agenda tonight, but me and Jack attended the fire board meeting on December 18th. And try and make this quick. We had 3 engines through the fire department that were going to be sold this summer that sat out front here. They got rid of 2 of them, and they have one that the question was whether to stick a $50,000 engine into it and get more money for it. Then they were offered $20,000 for it. So if they stuck a new engine into it, the garage appraisal report said they could get up to $135,000 to $155,000. So it was voted on, and we passed it. So, and what's nice about it, it's going to be put in by Blaine Brothers right in our city. So the 50,000's going back over there. So hopefully we can make some money on that truck and cut down our costs. Anything else, Jack, that we?
One thing, you wonder why these vehicles are selling at such a high price. It was explained to us that, some of the lead time on these trucks when you order them is at least 2 years. Sometimes these smaller cities and places have a breakdown and can't replace it. They can't wait that long for an order, so they're looking for used equipment. And also, too, there's many localities that when you go to order some types of fire equipment, like a ladder truck, is $1 million. So if you got something used to sell, you can probably get $300,000 or $400,000 out of it. So there is a big market for used fire equipment, and it's selling at a very high price. And by investing this $50,000 in, which will all be paid from by Forest Lake out of their account. And when it's sold, they get 80% of the funds, we get 20, which is our normal ratio for splitting those funds up. So we could go from getting essentially about $4,000 from the vehicle to about $15,000 doing this.
And there's another point they brought out too, is kind of interesting, that yellow fire trucks don't go as fast as red ones. That they're less desirable just because red's red. I don't know. That's fire departments for you. Anyway, that's all I had. And we're on the next thing here, I think.
EDA.
Go to EDA report.
This is Jenny. Mr. Mayor, did you want to introduce our guest, or did you want me to?
We should have Aaron do it.
Yes.
Because he can pronounce her name a lot better.
Kiona, right? Is that, yes. No, yes.
Yeah.
We have Kiona. Kiona's with us. She
Yeah.
is potentially going to be voted on tonight to be our new EDA member. So at our last meeting, we discussed Columbus, and our potential date for our next Columbus meeting would be in April. And then Kiona, as well as one other individual who is potentially going to apply for the vacant seat, gave very good feedback about ways in which we can reach out to our local businesses, and had a lot of input, so we appreciated that. So Kiona Prokop lives in Columbus, so if everybody wants to maybe take a minute and say hi to her after the meeting, that would be what we are requesting, would be to approve her tonight. So, Mr. Mayor, did you have anything else to add, and did you want to make a motion?
Well, just so we were talking about the Columbus, we tentatively put the date at April 23rd. It's a Thursday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. It'll be at Running Aces. This is just tentative. But I think if if I'm right, Aaron, weren't you going to talk to running?
Confirmed.
It's confirmed, so it's booked. Other than that, I'd just like to say that our new applicant out here has a strong history in marketing, and it's just an ideal fit for the EDA. So we're happy to have her drop in and apply. Thank you.
Before we consider that vote, I'd like to just go over a couple things. Keona Prokop was interviewed on December the 11th for a vacancy on the Economic Development Authority. This vacancy was created because we reorganized the EDA and added an extra citizen member. So this appointment would be for a 6-year term. Ms. Prokop has a wide variety of business, marketing, and promotion experience. This is a recommendation of the interview panel to appoint Mrs. Prokop to the EDA for a 6-year term to expire on December 31st, 2031.
Thank you, Jack. What else?
And with that, I would
You want to make the motion, or you want me to?
You can go ahead and do it.
Okay, I, Ron Hanegraaff, move to approve the appointment of Keona Prokop to the City of Columbus Economic Development Authority for a 6-year term to expire December 31st, 2031.
Is Jenny, I second.
Any other discussion, questions? Take a vote. Jenny?
Jenny, I.
Scott, aye.
Aaron, aye.
Rob, aye.
And Ron, and Keona, I apologize if I'll get this down right. Oh, well, great. It's the first time that's happened since I did the dishes for my wife.
We're excited to have you. Thank you very much for applying and for wanting to be a part of the city.
Yeah, it's nice to have you. I think you'd be a big asset for us.
Yeah, welcome. Sorry, Ron got me the dishes. Never done them right myself.
Okay, item number 5, the Planning Commission report and citizens members reappointments. And I'll hand this over to Scott.
I'll take the Planning Commission report from the last meeting, last Wednesday. As we already found out, there was a discussion and a vote on the division of the property. So I don't need to rehash that. At the public forum, Mayor Hanegraaff stepped up and did extend his appreciation for the planning commissioners. I thought that was very nice, Mayor, that you took the opportunity to do that. There was a public hearing on Brown Beagle. I'm not going to get too involved into that, but there was an amended CUP to extend the timeline over at the Brown Beagle. If you recall, the previous CUP had 3 phases. The first phase, 2 buildings on that property were supposed to have been completed by December 31st of 2024. That did not happen. They just finished the second building recently. Phase 2 is to have 3 additional buildings on December 31st of 2025 for a total of 5. That deadline's coming up in a couple weeks. They are obviously not going to be able to make that deadline. And then Phase 3 has another 2 additional buildings for December 31st of 2026, so which will be very difficult for them to do. The Planning Commission did update the conditional use permit to Phase 1, completion date of 12/31/2025, which now will be done. Finished, it already is. Phase 2 on June 30th, 2027, and Phase 3, December 31st, 2028. So we're giving them 2 additional years to finish out that project. There was also discussion whether we add cannabis language related to those businesses on that property. Can we restrict cannabis-related businesses on the property? And what can a conditional use permit language can go into that? So,
I got a question real quick here, Jack. Can the Planning Commission make that motion to extend that, or does it have to go through the council?
Let's go through the council.
So we're going to later have this come up to us?
We'll have it on the 14th of January.
and I believe that has to go back to the planning commission, does it not, first?
It can go back to the planning commission. I believe their first meeting is the 8th of January.
Right. and then it'll come to us.
Or excuse me, the 7th. It will go back to the planning commission on the 7th.
Okay.
This is Karen, I just have a question. When a CUP is extended, do we get any fees for this for the city for that if it's extended? Do we make any additional money if it's extended?
Not unless there's extra costs for them for legal engineering expenses that come out of their escrow.
Okay.
Would you like to, I'll make this motion. I, Ron Hannick, we got to talk to Kim Snell and Andy Heeman, how do you pronounce that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
did you want to handle this one, Jeff?
you want me to go over the?
Yeah.
Okay. On December the 11th, 2025, Carrie Foss, and I do have this misspelled, it should be C-A-1-R-R-Y, like Cary Grant, was interviewed for a vacancy on the Planning Commission. This vacancy was created by the resignation of Susan Botch. It is a recommendation of the interview panel to appoint Mr. Foss to the Planning Commission to fill the seat vacated by Susan Botch for the term to expire on December 31st, 2027. And as a second part of that motion, on February 12th, 2025, Kim Snell was appointed to fill a vacancy on the Planning Commission, which will expire on December 31st, 2025. 2025, originally, that should be 2024. Ms. Snell has requested reappointment to the Planning Commission. It is recommended that Ms. Snell be reappointed to the Planning Commission for a 3-year term to expire on December 31st, 2028. In July 2025, Andy Heinen was appointed to fill a vacancy on the Planning Commission, which will expire on December 31st, 2025. Mr. Heinen has requested reappointment to the Planning Commission. It is recommended that Mr. Heinen be reappointed to the Planning Commission for a 3-year term to expire on December 31st, 2028.
This is Scott. Do we need 2 separate motions for the appointment and then one for the reappointment, or are we doing it all in one motion?
We can do it all. It's all written up to do it in one motion.
Okay. I don't see Carrie Foss in the motion here, but.
Well, we'll make that a separate motion then.
Okay. Well, this is Scott. I'll make a motion then to appoint Carrie Foss to the vacancy on the Planning Commission.
Is Jenny a second?
We got a motion on the floor and it's been seconded. Any other discussion? How long is his going for again?
His term will expire on December 31st, 2027. He'll be filling out the remainder of Susan's term, which she was on there for a year. So his will be a 2-year term.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Jenny?
Jenny, aye.
Scott, aye.
Karen, aye.
Rob, aye.
And Ron, aye. Passes unanimously.
This is Scott. I'll take the other motion too. This one I can read, so I'll get it right. I move to approve the reappointments of Kim Snell and Andy Heinen to 3-year terms on the City of Columbus Planning Commission, with those terms to expire on December 31st, 2028.
This is Karen, I'll second it.
We have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Any other discussion? Questions? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Rob?
Rob, aye.
Karen, aye.
Scott, aye.
Jenny, aye.
And Ron, aye. Passes unanimously. We got to keep Aaron awake over there.
Yeah.
Mess it up a little.
Drink that Coke.
Okay, the next thing is item number 6, Public Works Report and Equipment Purchase Request.
Mr. Mayor and Council, we've had some discussion tonight about snow plowing. A few years ago, we kind of talked about this, in which probably Rob and Ron may be the only ones here, but we've talked about snow pushers to go on the front of our loader years ago. The last couple of years, we haven't had any snow, so I wasn't willing to move forward with that discussion. But this year, it appears that we are going to get some snow. So I went out and procured some bids from 2 vendors to look at a snow pusher. I don't know, did you put the pictures of that in the agenda?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect.
Oh, nice.
So if anybody doesn't know what a snow pusher is, it gives you the ability to scoop snow. This particular snow pusher, or the two that I bid, two different models or brands, but they have wings on the side, so you can scoop forward or backwards, and if you extend them out sideways to make a regular blade, it'll go out to 22 feet wide. So what the intent of this is to clear intersections and cul-de-sacs and ultimately try to improve the time that it takes us to open up the city. So some of the complaints that I've heard this year is, how come, it finished snowing 6 hours ago, how come my road's not plowed yet? And I go into Lino Lakes and their roads are plowed. Well, I did a little bit of legwork, and Lino Lakes has 6 plow trucks, 2 loaders, and 18 people. Columbus has 2 plow trucks, a loader, and a pickup, and 4 people. So, they obviously have more roads to plow, but, we're spread out 48 square miles in Columbus, and, we have a lot of lane miles to plow. So, we look for different ways to try to get this done in a quicker amount of time. And, as a general rule of thumb, it's generally buying more equipment. So that's kind of what I'm looking to do here. If the council is willing, my recommendation would be to, and I can't read this, my recommendation would be to purchase the Snow Wolf, as I'm calling it, 1222. That means it's 12 feet wide. If you extend the wings, it's 22 feet wide. That is a directional plow as well. My recommendation is to purchase that for this year, or for 2026. So I would potentially order it this week, but they would do the install and the billing after the first of the year.
This is Scott. Jim, what do we use to plow out the front of the fire department and city hall and the parks parking lots? I saw them using the pickup, I thought.
We use a pickup and or the loader. So we have some options, right? We have a 2009 Chevy truck that has an 8-foot plow on it. You feel like you're in a cul-de-sac or in front of City Hall for hours on end because you're not taking any material and moving it. The truck that you see is the 2020 Ford F550, and that has a 10-foot 6 plow on there. That thing you can move a lot of snow with. The loader, which is generally what I drive, that has a 12-foot, just a straight plow on it. You can't V it. You can angle it, but every pass that you take, you're running snow off of both sides, so you're making multiple passes no matter where you're going with it. And it's just not efficient. So, like I said, Brady, as a general rule of thumb, Brady and myself are running pickups and or loaders, and Tim and Bill run plow trucks. And we switch that up periodically, but that's generally how it goes.
Sure.
Because of just efficiency purposes.
But the Snow Wolf would cut down the amount of time it takes to be plowing out some of the parking lots.
Yes.
Significant.
We are going to be way more effective with that than the way we're doing it currently today.
Are we on overtime when we're plowing at times? Or is it strict? Are we just?
Sometimes, if you're plowing on a weekend,
Yeah.
yes. But if we plow during the week, potentially we start at 2:00 in the morning or whatever. We work our hours and then we go home. So, if we start at 2 in the morning, we're not working till 3 in the afternoon. You know what I mean? We do our work and we go home. So it all depends on where it lays or how many events we have in a week or something like that. So sometimes yes, sometimes no.
So potentially we saving a little bit of money and being more efficient.
Yeah, you're definitely going to be more efficient and effective for sure.
And generally, Scott, on a snowy winter, the major snow events happen on the weekend of Martin Luther King Day, President's Day, and every weekend.
And generally every Christmas, but knock on wood, not looking like it this year.
Or Thanksgiving, if it's,
You got something to say there?
Yeah, it's just,
Rob?
this is part of your budget that you've already set forth anyhow, right? So it's nothing outside of what you've already
There's
budgeted.
nothing outside of the realm of what we.
So it's been planned for. Yep.
I got a question for you, Jim. 2 questions. Number one is, On the second page of your thing, it says it gives the price including installation. What does it mean by installation? Them mounting it on your,
If you look at this plow, there's a lot of hydraulics on there. So there's extra controls that they need to add.
so this isn't going to be a yearly deal where they have to install it again?
Oh, no. No, basically it's the electrical portion of the plow that you have to add because there's so many functions on there. So you run hydraulics to the plow and then generally they have electric actuators that divert hydraulics to different cylinders. So that portion of it gets attached to the loader and then it just stays there. So then, next time we go to hook it up, you just drive into it, hook up a couple hydraulic hoses and an electrical pin, and you just go.
My second question I have is this just going to be in this area? Are we just going to do this area in the park area, or is this thing going on long trips up?
So when we plow, generally we have what we call the north route and the south route. I generally plow the south route, and Tim plows the south route in the dump truck. We go out on the road. So we will plow here and, every cul-de-sac or dead end road or intersection could be in Coon Lake or it could be on Pine Street.
I only bring that up because then we'll be putting more hours on this front end loader, won't we?
You will.
Yeah.
But we've accounted for that as well. So, you look at the amount of hours that we run equipment, we think that we use them a lot. But when you look at, say, Forest Lake Contracting that buys the same loader, if they kept theirs as many years as we have, they would have thousands of hours on there. We might have 3,000. So, we put hardly any use on a piece of equipment like that. It seems like it would be a lot, but it's really not.
So this equipment is your front end loader is what loads salt onto the other trucks then?
Yes.
Right? So you got to unhook and hook? Or?
You'll be able to, so we do that now, right? So there's a plow on there. It takes me probably less than 5 minutes to switch.
Oh, okay.
So, it's literally 2 hydraulic hoses and, an electric switch to take the plow off that I currently use. This one here will be 2 hydraulic hoses and an electric plug that you screw in, couple minutes.
Thanks, Mayor. Is this in relation to the ones they would use like an interstate removal would use at a Walmart or a Menards? Similar, right? But it just attaches right to the bucket? You don't have to pull the bucket off to attach it?
Take the bucket off.
Oh, you do have to take
Yes.
it off? Okay.
And again, I flip a switch, the bucket goes
Okay.
off.
Sure.
It's 5 minutes.
Okay. Good enough.
This is Karen. I have a question, Jim. So are you looking at Ziegler or are you looking at John Deere?
Ziegler.
Okay. And do you know what kind of warranty they provide?
I believe they're a 1-year warranty on workmanship or whatever. If
Okay.
you blow some of that equipment is a little hard because, you go out and you start banging into frozen snowbanks and you blow out hydraulic cylinders, they may or may not warranty that. Or if I hit a curb and I bend it, there's the difference between workmanship and poor use, right? So on workmanship, generally, most of that stuff is 1 year.
Does Ziegler repair them if they get broke?
If we break it and it's not in warranty, we generally repair it in-house.
Okay.
Unless it's something that we can't handle,
Okay.
then you'll take it in. But, Ziegler would definitely do it, but.
Okay. And then I just have, Cheryl, I have one question for you. Do we depreciate that expense?
We would depreciate this asset, yes.
How long?
I believe, is it 15 years?
I think they're 10.
10.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Does Jenny have one?
Sooner than that, don't we?
No,
Joke.
no, we would keep it that long.
I just have one question.
yeah, sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. No, sorry. So this is Jenny. How difficult is it having the front end loader on our county roads? I know it doesn't move as fast. Do you ever have issues with having it on the county
Never.
roads? Okay.
If you pay much attention around here, there's equipment that rolls around here all the time. So you look at this time of year, contractors will be out and about with front-end loaders, or, I see Forest Lake Contracting driving around here quite regularly. So, no, I mean, I don't drive generally in the driving lane unless I'm making a turn. Generally, we're on the shoulders, but there's, like you pull out of here and start going down Kettle River. I mean, I'm turning off on roads to plow pretty steady. So, I mean, it's probably the longest drive that you have is, coming back off of Crossways Furman to here, you know what I mean? Because then at that point I'm done and you're just, deadheading back. But there's so much to plow and there's so many people around, and I think most people know what you're doing as well. So there's some gracious people out there.
And I would venture to guess you're well lit up and signed for being on the road, where some of those private contractors are not as visible. Yeah.
Yeah, we got lights and flashers and things going everywhere.
So one final question, what are you going to do with the old plow then for the front end loader?
We'll sell it.
Sell it? There's a market for those things?
Yeah.
Paint it fire engine red, I heard.
Yeah. Don't paint
Yellow that way.
Yeah, can you get that plow in red instead of yellow?
Maybe.
Okay, I'll make a motion. I, Ron Hanegraaff, move to approve the purchase of a Snow Wolf 12/22 snow pusher at a total installed cost of $31,583 from Ziegler Caterpillar.
Scott, I'll second.
We got a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Any other discussion? Questions? Having none, we'll start with Rob.
Rob, aye.
Karen, aye.
Scott, aye.
Jenny, I.
And Ron, aye. The motion passes unanimously. We'll go to item number 7, City Administrator's Report.
The city is statutorily required to participate in watershed management organizations or districts to review, develop, and approve water management plans and budgets for their respective drainage basin areas. The city belongs to the Sunrise River Water Management Organization and appoints a council person and a citizen member to the Water Management Organization. Council member Janet Hagelin was the city council liaison to the Sunrise River WMO, and Tim Melchior is a citizen member for Columbus. Ms. Hagler's seat has been vacant since October 16, 2025, and Mr. Melchior's term expires on December 31, 2025. It is recommended that Mr. Melchior be reappointed for another annual term and the city council member be appointed to fill Ms. Hagelin's position. Sunrise River WMO meets bi-monthly and includes members from Linwood, East Bethel, and Ham Lake. In addition to the Sunrise River WMO, the city of Columbus belongs to the Coon and Rice Creek Water Management Districts. The reason we're asking for this appointment tonight is the Sunrise River has their first meeting on January 6th, prior to our work meeting and our regular council meeting. And it would be good to have an appointment on this so we will have representation at the meeting. In addition, Ms. Hagelin was the treasurer of the Sunrise River WMO, but that they'll select their officers at that initial meeting on January the 8th. So at this time, I would like to recommend that we reappoint Mr. Melchior. I've had a conversation with him, and he said he would like to be reappointed again, and to designate or appoint a council member as our liaison to the Sunrise River WMO.
So what do you want to do first? Approve?
Well, we can just do them both simultaneously, but so we know Mr. Melchior wants to serve. He's been on there for several years. And we just need to designate which council member you want to appoint to serve on that watershed district.
Is there any, we'll start down to, anybody want to jump to the occasion and take this one, or?
I will.
You will? Anybody else want to fight Karen for it?
I forgot one thing I left out. These meetings are at the East Bethel City Hall.
Sorry,
I'll make the motion.
I didn't hear Jack. What did you say, Jack?
These meetings are not held here. They're held at the East Bethel City Hall.
Okay,
And they meet 6 times a year.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Big shoes to fill.
Okay, so, wait, let me see this one. Okay, I, Ron Hanegraaff, move to approve the appointment of Karen Fleming as the city council member to the Sunrise River Water Management Organization and Tim McClure as the citizen member for terms to expire on December 31st, 2026.
Yeah, these are just one-year terms. They're done annually.
Rob, second.
Okay, Rob, second the motion. Any discussion, any questions? Hearing none, we'll start with Jenny.
Jenny, aye.
Scott, aye.
Karen, aye.
Rob, aye.
And Ron, aye. Passes unanimously. Jack?
On December 10th, 2025, 2 candidates were interviewed for the vacant accounting assistant position. There were 40 applicants for the position and 4 candidates were selected for interviews. However, on the day of the interviews, 2 of the applicants notified the city that they had accepted other job offers and would not interview for our position. Miss Christina Randall was interviewed and is recommended as the candidate for and has the requisite qualifications for this position. Her resume and letter of recommendation were sent to council under separate cover for your review. It is recommended by the interview panel that City Council approve the hire of Christina Randall at Step 2 of the 2026 pay plan for this position. The start date for her employment, if approved, would be January 12th, 2026.
Any questions on this? Did you all read the resume? I think you emailed them, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yes.
did get a lot of, she's from Gilbert,
Yeah.
Minnesota, worked for the bank up there, it looked like.
I'll make a motion. I, Ron Hanegraaff, move to approve the hire of Christina Randall for the position of accounting assistant at Step 2 of the 2026 pay plan, $28.61 an hour, with a start date of January 12th, 2026.
Scott, I'll second.
We got a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll start with Jenny.
Jenny, aye.
Scott, aye.
Karen, aye.
Rob, aye.
And Ron, aye. Passes unanimously.
We've been requested to submit our preference for our local Board of Appeal and Equalization meeting dates. These are always held in April of each year to provide an opportunity for our citizens to come and ask any questions or request that their valuation of their property be reconsidered. The dates we have are from April 20th through May the 8th. So I would like to ask City Council to request meeting dates of April 20th as our first choice and an alternate date to be Thursday, April 28th, 2026 for the local Board of Appeal and Equalization meeting that will be held at the Columbus City Hall for the purposes of citizens to question, get answers to, or appeal their tax valuations. And these notices will be sent out on this meeting date when your final property taxes go out in March.
This is Jenny. I have one clarification. Looking at 2026 on my calendar, April 20th looks like a Monday.
It is.
Okay, you had Tuesday.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So confirming it would be Monday, April 20th?
It is a Monday.
And then the date of April 28th is a Tuesday and not a Thursday, is that correct?
I was saying it was a Thursday, but if it's Tuesday,
The 28th, so that would be Thursday, April 30th?
if we want to do it, we don't have a meeting on that Tuesday. So that Tuesday, the Thursday or Tuesday, either one would be fine. So let's just keep it on the 28th.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Okay, thank you very much.
I must have been looking at the Chinese New Year calendar.
Any questions on this? Hearing none, I'll make the motion. I, Ron Hanegraaff, move to approve the first date of choice for the local Board of Appeals and Equalization meeting as Tuesday, or is that Monday?
Monday.
Monday, April 20th, 2026, and the alternative date to be Tuesday, April 28th, 2026. Did I get that right?
You did.
It's Jenny, I second.
We got a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, we'll take Rob. You want to vote?
Rob, aye.
Karen, aye.
Scott, aye.
Jenny, aye.
And Ron, aye. The motion passes unanimously. Go on to item number E, announcements and reminders. City Hall will be closed on December 24th and 25th of 2025 and January 1 of 2025. City Council work meeting January 6, 2026 at 5:30 PM. Planning Commission meeting January 7th, 2026 at 6 PM. Sunrise River WMO January 8th, 2026 at 6:30 PM East Bethel City Hall. And a City Council meeting January 14th, 2026 at 6 PM. Anybody want to make a motion for adjournment?
This is Jenny. I have one question before we adjourn. Do we need to plan for who is quarter one of the planning commission? Because we won't have a meeting
Good point.
before then.
Well, we just have to select, it'll be one of you. Who wants to do the first quarter? That's the question.
I can volunteer.
Should we go through it right now? Or
Should we figure the other ones out at next meeting then? Just give time to look
Why not
at
just do it
schedule.
now?
Yeah, I guess it don't matter.
Let's wait till the next meeting.
Well, if we wait till our next meeting's not till January the 14th, which is a week after the planning commission.
Well, I'm saying set the first quarter with Jenny, and maybe the next meeting, we set the other three.
Divide it up between the rest
Yeah.
of them.
Right.
Someone make a motion
Yes.
for that, just
Yes.
for quarter one? Is that what you're wanting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I move that Jenny be planning commission. This is Rob. I move that Jenny be planning commission liaison for the first quarter of the year, with the other quarters to be decided at a further city council meeting in the future.
Scott, I'll second.
A motion on the floor. It's been seconded. Take a vote. Jenny?
Jenny, aye.
Scott, aye.
Karen, aye.
Rob, aye.
And Ron, aye. It passes unanimously. Now, where are we? Oh, we're asking for adjournment. Anybody want to say?
This is Karen. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Anybody want to second it?
Second, Rob.
We'll take a vote. Rob?
Rob, aye.
Karen, aye.
Scott, aye.
Jenny, aye.
And Ron, aye. Meeting's closed at 7:45.
We had a